Let's get old Clint off of there. All right, guys. Welcome. Wednesday night, July 1st. Halfway through this year. Let's go. Tonight, we're going to be talking about Railtown. Let me get the right ticker up here. This one, we don't want GNS. Although GNS had a good day today. Tonight, I just want to touch base with my Railtown investors. I know this is a very small community, but maybe that will change. This is a speculative pre-revenue Canadian AI ticker that we have been reporting on here on the channel for about a year. And it is my belief, although management has not said anything publicly yet, it is my belief that we are on the cusp of flipping to revenue at some point in 2026. And we have been tracking a walk down in the price of Railtown for the past few months. I did a video for you guys about a week or two ago about that, about the warrant expirations that were happening at the end of June, and how the warrant holders often will arbitrage those by going short the common. That means they are selling the stock because they're going to get delivery of the warrants. They want to lock in a high price, go short the stock, get your warrants, close your shorts. What I hypothesized to you guys was that was what was driving the price down. And then once the end of June was behind us and all those warrants had been exercised and they kind of wrapped up the shorts, that we would see the price move. And indeed, if we look at the daily, yesterday we had a huge move up. And then today we had another 10% move up, 9.6%. So I think my theory's holding. It's only Wednesday. We'll see how the rest of the week goes. If we zoom out a little bit, if you want to see how bad it was getting, we were at the very, very bottom of the demand zone. And at one time, thanks to hype on a different YouTube channel, this stock was trading at 62 cents on the OTC. RLAIF is the ticker. And it has fallen all the way down to the bottom of the demand zone and then bounced once those warrants were exercised. We in the Discord have been taking the opportunity to pick it up cheaply. 90% of my purchases on this stock have been below 30 cents since the point of December 2025. So I did dabble a little bit in this run up when I thought maybe there'd be a pop in the price over the AIP partnership, but that didn't happen. So I'm glad that was a very small entry. And then I've been going much larger on size for the last 7 months. So 90% of my purchases have been in this demand zone. And my goal for me, for my risk management, is to utilize patience, read the company filings, and make sure that I have, I'd like to keep my cost basis under 30 cents. And then we wait and see. I think, this is not a go bust type company. This is not they're not having to go tap the till with convertible notes or ATMs. They're funding the company by managing costs and through the exercise of warrants, which provide ongoing cash from time to time. And then they had recently a $3.4 million injection of cash from the co-founders of BlackBerry, which, if you know anything about them, that is a meaningful investment from those two gentlemen. They don't do this every day. And one of them joined the advisory board, or both. I don't recall, but at least one of them joined the advisory board of Railtown. Railtown is aligned. If you saw the presentation, you can see them up on the screen here in the top right, aligned with some very big players in the technology and AI field up in Canada. So I call this right now a sovereign Canadian AI play. If you're a government agency or a business in Canada and you want to have all your AI under the careful watch of a Canadian company, you have TELUS, which has it's a Canadian company that built a hyperscaler facility, and you can have Railtown, who is now partnered with TELUS, run the agentic AI on whatever your product or products are in that hyperscaler factory. All we're waiting on now is for the CEO, Corey Brandolini, to come out and tell us, here is when we're going to report revenue, or here are what the revenue projections are for the rest of this year, or 2027 or 2028. I don't know what he has planned. I don't know when we will find out. I don't have any price targets for you. I don't have any revenue targets for you, because it would be, in my opinion, unconscionable for a YouTuber to give you guys a price target or a revenue target when management has provided no guidance. I don't think that is a good idea for us to be waxing eloquently, telling you fables and fiction made up in our head while we're dreaming about revenue when management hasn't even said anything. I do think that there will be revenue, and I do think that if I can keep my cost basis under 30 cents, I should be pretty safe, because even if the revenue were tiny, I think that, 30 cents is a fair value. By tiny, I mean $2 million annual revenue. If it's bigger than that, 10, 20, 30 million or bigger, then you might get a re-rating in this price of this stock. And, I'm not going to talk price targets other than in the Discord. I have broken it down. I'm not going to talk about it on YouTube until management says something, just because the YouTube audience in general is always looking to blame somebody else for their own decisions. And I don't ever want to be responsible for telling you guys to buy or sell a stock. You make up your own minds, do your own due diligence. You decide when to buy, if to buy. This is a highly speculative pre-revenue company. I think it will be re-rated at a higher price, but I could be wrong. And since I know that I might be wrong, I'm just telling you, I'm trying to manage my risk by keeping my entries cheap, if that makes sense. The only way I really lose here is if the company never puts out any product. And look, the BlackBerry guys putting in 3.3 million, they know something is coming. I feel it in my gut. These guys don't put money into a pipe dream. Is that fair? I don't got much more for you than that. But I want you to look at the bench strength of the management team and the board of directors, the advisory board, the investment from BlackBerry, the partnership with TELUS, the partnership, the acquisition of AIP. All of that is telling us a story, and then you just got to take a leap of faith that the management team will execute. I do talk to management from time to time. I'm not paid. I'm not sponsored. They don't give me any MNPI. I don't have any information that you guys don't have. The only thing that they've told me is they're not going to drop MOUs, memorandums of understanding. So if it seems a little quiet out there, they are only going to drop news when they have a firm contract and numbers that they can talk about. That is the impression that I was given. And so I take that to mean there's probably stuff going on in the background. But rather than put out some bird food press release, a MOU, they're going to drop the contract. They're going to drop the press release with the real meat, what a Tony DeNaro would want to see. I always tell you guys, I don't want to see these bull trap PRs. I want to see from all of these companies out there, I want to see a PR that tells me revenue and a timeline, something that I can analyze and make some projections and analysis on. And it is the indication they gave me that that is exactly what they intend to do. So if it seems a little quiet, I have faith that there is work going on in the background. Will I be wrong? Everybody's waiting for me to be wrong about something. I don't think this is going to be the one, but you never know. You never know. Punchy Nuts, what's going on? Anya, how are you doing? Anya says, all aboard, train has left the station. Anya says, you put a lot of time into this. I did make this slide deck that's playing in the upper right-hand corner for you guys. It played at the beginning. If you want to see it on full screen, just rewind to the beginning of this live stream if your eyes don't work so good like mine, because I'm old. And it's just some highlights things that I'm looking at, and I think important things. If you want to know a little bit at a high level about this company, maybe it'll spur you to go in and dig in a little more. Owning the float, he says, Railtown, is that like the cocaine cowboys? Yeah, I don't know, Mike. I don't know. Anya says, I'm hoping Railtown will be able to watch this video. I hope so. Owning the float says, why don't you talk about much bigger ticker symbols? You know, Mike, I sometimes find tickers by watching people who put out a bunch of misinformation. It's kind of why I cover GameStop, Mike, because the other people covering GameStop put out a bunch of misinformation. And there was a bunch of misinformation going on this ticker for the last year, still is. And that was how I found it. But then as I looked into it, I was like, you know what? This company's actually pretty good. And I reached out to them and I talked to the CEO, and he and I have a lot in common. My background is in the tech field. His background's in the tech field. I'm Italian. He's Italian, almost from the same damn region of northern Italy. And so we have a lot of things in common. He's aware of my channel. He's aware of the content. He appreciates the content. And I'm just covering this stock, Mike, because if it re-rates in price, I think this will be a multi-bagger. We will see. The big stocks you want me to cover. Everybody's covering the big stocks, Michael. I mean, what value can I provide in a big stock that everybody's covering? And the information, there's no gray area in the big stocks. We know the information. They're profitable. They got growing revenue. They got massive free cash flow. There's no misinformation. You just trade the chart or trade the general economy. These little niche areas, they are ripe for pumpers and cult leaders to put out misinformation daily. And, you know, if I can provide some value to people to clear up some of that misinformation, I would like to do that. And sometimes we find a good trade. You know, we found a lot of good swing trades in GameStop. As you know, I buy it and sell it. I don't recommend the stock, but it is a good vol trade from time to time. And Railtown for me is one of those speculative pre-revenue tickers. Not my normal forte. We're kind of going out on a limb here, but so far I like what I see. Exile Crisis says, I'll be having another look at an entry on Rail tomorrow. I haven't been around long, but I've never seen Tony be wrong. Thank you. I mean, you weren't around in 2022, Exile. There was a period where we were wrong. But one thing that I try and do, if I'm wrong, I don't double down on being wrong and then double down and triple down and quadruple down. I realize that the market is telling me I was wrong. Analyze, figure out why I was wrong, and then change. Learn from mistakes. I see so many people in these. I was looking at a guy on Twitter today. He has rode GTII into the ground. Then he rode GNS into the ground over the last 3 years. Then he rode Finger into the ground. And now he rode GDC into the ground. Like 99% loss on all these tickers over the last 4 years. When are you going to wake up and realize your ticker picker is broken? You're doing something wrong. If every play is losing you 90%, pull up. That's what we're here for the people that want to pull up, want to eject, want to land on the deck of the carrier and get assigned a new plane with new instructions. I'm not going to give you instructions, but I will give you the manual, and we'll teach you how to read the manual. So Railtown down, bounced off the bottom of the demand zone, bounced off of this low set back in May of 2025. And, you know, I'm not going to say a price target, but I think that if they provide proper guidance, we could be seeing green arrows off the top of this chart. Yeah, I know it stops at 75 cents. I don't want to overpromise anything, but I think that there will be good news. Pull up, Mike. Eject and pull up, man. What else can we say about Railtown, Anya? Am I day trading Railtown? I get accused a lot of day trading Railtown. I have never sold one share of Railtown. I've only bought, you can see all my buys down here. If I had a sell, I'd put it up here. I put my sells on other tickers, and I'd get a lot of arrows in the back for it. I'm not if I was selling it, I would tell you. I don't know when I'm going to sell it. I got to see what management says about timeline and revenue projections. So I don't have any sell timeline or price target. Nothing. I got nothing for you. I'm not trying to cover this stock to move you into other tickers. I hear a lot. Tony's just covering Railtown because he wants you to buy AMC and GameStop. I do not want you to buy AMC and GameStop. Let me make that clear. And I don't give buy and sell instructions, period, on any ticker. And I certainly don't move people between tickers. That, if you've ever watched me, you know that is not my MO. I believe in a diverse portfolio. You should own mostly profitable companies with growing revenues and growing profits. And then if you want to have a little fun speculating on a few tickers like we do here, we try and have multiple eggs in the basket because we're not smart enough to get all of them right. But the ones that we get right, they can be multi-baggers, and they make up for the ones that were wrong. And if we're wrong, we get out quickly. We don't bag hold something down 99%. That's kind of the whole purpose of this channel, is to show you guys you don't need to ride everything into the ground. Have a plan. Follow your plan. Your plan should include what you're going to do if things go well and what you're going to do if things go wrong on any ticker. The biggest mistake I made last year, we had a ton of winners last year. The biggest mistake I made last year was selling some of them too quick. And so I said that this year I'm going to try and get better about if I feel that point where, like, Tony, you're up 100% in 5 weeks, sell. What are you doing? I am still taking profits off, but I'm trying to make sure that I let, depending on what the ticker is and where the price is at and what's going on with the company and the economy, I'm trying to let more ride so I don't miss more of the upside. Far too often last year, if I had a great profit, I would just exit the entire position, and then I'd watch the stock go up another 2 or 3x. I had a good idea, I made a good profit, but it could have been a lot more. So I'm trying to work on the bracket theory. See, we all make mistakes. Mine is leaving profits on the table. I make a good profit, but I left some on the table, and I don't lose any sleep over that. But like I said a little while ago, when you realize you're doing something wrong, pull back, adjust, and make a new plan. And so that has been my plan for this year, and it's been working out pretty well. Owning the Float says I may start stacking on ANGX. ANGX had a little pop earlier this week, I saw. I am covering that stock. I have not bought any yet, and I owe you guys an update on ANGX. They got the George Washington movie coming out this weekend, which is supposed to do pretty good. Animal Farm did not do so well. Exile says smart money protects itself from loss. Nothing wrong with trying to re-enter, then adjusting when it's wrong. Amen, brother. You don't see hedge funds and private equity writing shit into the dirt. They're gonna sell and ask questions later. You can always re-enter. This is the biggest fucking nonsense I hear out there. If you get out, you're gonna regret it. You might not be able to get back in. Motherfucker, I can always get back in. Trust me, I'm not worried about it. It might be cheaper. It might be a little more expensive. I don't care. This whole mind control thing that people do on social media. If you sell, you might not be able to get back in. That is cult nonsense. And I hear people saying that. I know that your brain is a little wonky. You're either teaching people the cult narrative or you've been under the cult narrative spell. You can always get back in. Mike, am I right? You can always get back in. In fact, if I get out of a ticker and then it turns around and bounces and it starts showing a couple days of sustained upward momentum, it's safer for me to get back in after that than to try and guess where the bottom is as the knife is falling and then it keeps falling. I don't want to do that second scenario. Let it bounce, let it come up a little bit. It's not going to hurt my feelings if I pay a few pennies or a few dollars more. I assume some of you guys know how to analyze when is a good time to swing trade. And typically it is not buying a downward trend. I mean, why do people try and make me feel guilty for exiting in a downward trend? That is the common sense thing to do. It's hilarious. Exile says, I even made money off the GDC split, bought at a penny, sold for a penny and a half. Yeah, GDC I saw a lot of crappy tickers had a good bounce today. And a couple of the bulls were messaging me saying, haha, you were wrong. I haven't given any price targets. I'm not wrong about anything. I'm looking at the company financials and I'm not wrong about those. If you had a good green day, beautiful. I love to see it. I want to see you make money. Take some off the table. That's all I'm saying. I mean, literally, this is not a joke. There were people 7 weeks ago telling on social media, big time promoters, telling investors that GDC was going to $800. I have the tweets. I screenshot this shit. It went from $6 to $8. They're saying it's going to $800. What happened at $8? It dropped to 1 penny within a couple days. Y'all got to learn who these promoters are, how they lie. They lying on you. You don't want to be holding that rug. But if you got in at a penny, I mean, it can't get much worse. Exile crisis, right? Although it did fall to a 0.07. 0.007. It fell after the reverse split. It fell below a penny. But there's, as I said in a lot of the social media posts over the weekend, when a ticker has a reverse split, if you come in after and the float is low, like really low, this company did a 1 for 250, you can have volatility. You can have volatility. And if you're a degen and you like to gamble on that, hey, knock yourself out. I'm not trying to convince anybody to trade or not trade. I'm trying to give you some navigational beacons of what is likely to happen. We gave you navigational beacons from $8 down to a penny. Y'all were telling me for 7 weeks I was not going to be right. We were exactly right. But hey, you come in at a penny, you sell for 2 pennies or 3 pennies or whatever. It's trading at $2.50 now, I think, or so, after the reverse split on a low float. Maybe you get a bounce, but the company's got to drop some news. The company GDC has to say, here's our Bitcoin, we still own it. Here's our auditor statement, something. Or they need to say, we got a new buyout offer, and it's not a joke this time. Or they could say, we're canceling the rest of the ATM. It's up to the company GDC to say something, and yet they remain silent. And so it is my belief when companies remain silent that they are still selling shares. And sometimes you get a little bounce because they lay off. We've seen this in many companies, right? We see a little bit they lay off the selling pressure for a day. They trick you. I'm not talking just GDC. We see this all the time. If you're trading with us or watching tickers in the Discord, and then the next day, whoop, they turn the sales back on and rug everybody that got. They just like a moth to a flame. They're like, oh, it's a green candle, pile in, and then they're like, thank you, cha-ching. Turn on that share selling machine. We got millions to make off of your back. Thank you very much. But it's never going to hurt my feelings. If you guys are making profits, it's never going to hurt my feelings. If we have a green day, I don't short stocks. I don't want to see you lose money. It hurts me when the stocks are going red and people are telling you it's going to $800. it hurts me because y'all believe it. And they call me all sorts of names because I tell you, read the filings. Read the filings. You could see it coming. You could see it coming what they were going to do. You could see since December what was coming with GDC. The rug was right there in the filings. Getting back to Railtown, there's no rug in the filings. All we have to worry about is warrants, and they publish the warrant schedule every month so we can see what the in the money warrant strike price is and the date that they expire. And we watch for bubbles. The next bubble on warrant expiration is not till December. So we have a window here where things could go up. And we also have a window where maybe management will come in and drop some PR on Railtown. Kai Supreme, what's up? Exile Crisis said it did indeed get a little worse, but it since had a pop again. All right, I don't want to hear anybody. It hurts me when I hear y'all crying. People say I lost everything or I'm down 5 digits on it. I mean, this company GDC, the penny stock that dropped from $8 to a penny, they've had zero revenue, no business. They have no business. Someone was arguing with me last night. It's an American company. It's not a company. They don't even have any. They've booked zero revenue for 5 years. I get it. They're incorporated in Nevada. They're a Chinese company. No, they're not, Tony. They're incorporated in Nevada. I want you to go look up who their auditor is, who their CPA is. Where are they based? Guangzhou, China. How many American companies, ladies and gentlemen, have a CPA in Guangzhou, China? How many American companies have the entire executive staff with deep ties to the PRC, the People's Republic of China? How many American companies have a decade of previous business in the People's Republic of China? You want to tell me it's an American company? I will agree with you when you can show me $1 of revenue booked in America, but it doesn't exist. So I'm going to tell you, it's not an American company. It's a Chinese company, GDC, that domiciled in Nevada to get listed on the NASDAQ to steal your money. I'm going to be blunt. Theoretically, they own 7,500 Bitcoin, according to them. And if they do, then whatever price the stock's trading at today is too low. It is too low if they own that Bitcoin. But the price of the stock is telling us the market has doubts. And that's really what people are gambling on. I mean, this is a pure degen play. You're gambling on a Chinese company that they had a buyout offer of $10.75, and then the next day sold 1 billion shares for 2 cents. Now, do you think they're on your side? Tony, it's a secret plan to shut up. It's no secret plan. The secret plan was to steal your money. $47 million they stole from investors in the last 7 weeks, doing a 1,600% increase in the float and then dropping the news on you. Oh, by the way, here you go. It's not 60 million shares, it's 1 billion. And we're doing a 1 for 250 split tomorrow. American company, my ass. You got took. Doesn't mean you can't make money this week on volatility, but you better know the swamp that you're wading through. That's all I'm saying. I don't care if you trade it or not. Another interesting thing on this ticker, IBKR, for the ticker GDC, 600% short interest over on IBKR. Pretty interesting. And people are saying, well, the shorts are scared. They're out of ammo. I mean, it is factual that there were not many lendable share inventory at Interactive Brokers, and the cost to borrow was 600%. But I looked over on Schwab Thinkorswim 2 days ago, 0% cost to borrow. I looked yesterday, 3% cost to borrow, while Interactive Brokers is 600%. So I'm just going to say, if you're relying on social media to say, look at this picture, 600%, and you're not smart enough to look at other brokers, you're going to get took. You're going to get took by the promoters. There's thousands of lenders. You go to Fintel or Chart Exchange and you look up the cost to borrow. That is one broker out of thousands of lending sources for any ticker. So if you tell me, Tony, I checked 4 lenders and they're all 600%, hey, we got a much better story that the shorts are screwed. But when I see Interactive Brokers 600% and Schwab 3%, the story's not lining up. One broker where bigger institutional clients or more professional traders know what is going to happen to this stock. They're borrowing everything they can from Interactive Brokers and shorting the damn stock. No doubt it's being shorted. But there is plenty of other lendable inventory out there in other places, like Schwab, 3%. You could sell short all you want over on Thinkorswim. Cheap. You wonder why the price is getting driven down. IBKR is not the only lending source. Learn these simple tricks. It will help you. Anya said, yeah, getting back to Railtown, that's enough complaining about GDC. Why am I paying attention to GDC? Because I uncovered a whole nother nest of paid promoters and a whole nother method of scamming people. And I have a wide net of affiliated companies affiliated with GDC that have run this exact same scam, stolen millions of dollars, tens of millions of dollars from investors in multiple tickers. And I have the smoking gun dotted line to tie all of these companies together. And I'm waiting for GDC to play out so that I can make a video on it. It's just going to be an educational video of how not to get took in these and what to look for. Doesn't mean you don't trade them. You could trade whatever you want. I don't care. If you're tired of losing money, you might want to understand some of the red or yellow flags that I can look at in these tickers and spot very quickly, very easily. And I'd like to teach you to do the same thing. And then you can, if you want to go into the trade, at least you go into it armed with the right information. Oh, okay, I see the red flags. The stock's going up. It's in the pump phase, but I know I need to be out before market closes because they could rug me with that open ATM that they did last week. I already know that they pre-approved a reverse split 2 months ago. They let just enough time go thinking that I would forget about that. There's little tricks that you can spot if you know what to look for. It's not hard. And the promoters hate that I talk about this stuff. They hate that I talk about the company filings. But it is how I can tell you with such certainty what is going to happen in all of these stocks. The companies tell you what's going to happen. You got to read the company filings and not listen to the promoter nonsense. Anya says, I think you said in the Discord that Canadian trades are 10x that in the US. On Railtown, that is the case, Anya. So Railtown trades on the CSE in Canada. That's kind of like the startup public exchange. That is the primary listing. It trades under the ticker RAIL. So if you're in Canada, you could buy Railtown under the ticker RAIL in Canada. Their secondary listing is in the US under RLAIF. The primary volume and the primary price action is all in Canada. The OTC is a place for extra liquidity for the company to have trading in their shares. And yeah, for Railtown, I haven't looked at too many other companies on yet, although there are others that we could look at. The volume in Canada is, in general, on a monthly basis, about 10x in Canada what it is in the US. But even with that, this is what I would still call a thinly traded ticker. It's not a ton of volume. Like in the US today, 53,000. And I didn't look at Canada, but probably 10 times that, 5 million. Someone go check. 500,000, sorry. Someone go check. Whoever has TradingView pulled up, or the TSX or the CSE. What does that mean? Basically, there are market makers doing arbitrage between the two countries, between the Canadian exchange and the U.S. You always see 40 or 50,000 on the bid and ask for Railtown when you're. You can't see the order book up here, but. Right now it's pretty low, 2,500 and 2,500, but during the day it's normally like 30, 40, 50,000 always on the bid and the ask. That is someone making a market in the US, and if there's buyers in the US, they're providing liquidity, they're providing shares. It's the other YouTubers say it's someone selling illegal naked shorts. No, market makers carry inventory, and their job is to provide a market. They stand ready. Whatever you want to do, buy or sell, they are there every day with the liquidity for you to trade the stock if you want to. And then if there's more trading going on in Canada and the price is being driven down or driven up, the prices will adjust accordingly here in the US. $200K on Wealthsimple CSE, Exile says. All right, thank you. I think I closed my trading view. I think I closed it. Trading a view. A Railtown. RAIL. Not Freight Car America. You can't see that down there. I'm seeing, am I on daily? Oh, I'm on monthly. 200,000. Yep, your Wealthsimple is right. Other big news, June 30th. Let's just look at this before we wrap up for today, and maybe we'll take some other questions if you guys have them. This is the news about the warrants. People will tell you that warrants are not dilutive. Warrants are not dilutive. Warrants represent potential future dilution, but when they are exercised, they are dilutive. Anybody who's telling you different does not know what they're talking about. So we have had, since January 1st, 11.5 million common share purchased warrants. So warrants, which are a derivative representing the potential of future shares, were exercised. The shares were created and issued in exchange for the warrants. That is dilution. Just understand it. I'm not saying it's good or bad, but I literally hear people covering this stock saying, guys, it's not dilution. It's absolutely dilution. I mean, if you can't get the basics like that correct, don't be doing YouTube. But the good news is the company has raised almost $3 million since the beginning of January on the exercise of warrants. Corey Brandolini is the CEO. He says, we are very pleased with the strong support shown by our warrant holders. These were warrants that were bought, most of them as units. The company sold stock plus units in a cash raise 36 months ago. And so they expired 36 months later, end of June this year. He says the additional capital raised through these exercises adds to a sound treasury and puts us in a strong financial position as we continue the transition to sales focused business operations. I wanted that to say revenue generating business operations, Corey, but we'll take that. You're making a transition. Let's go. No finder's fees or commissions were paid in connection with the warrant exercise. $3 million, and that was on top of the investment of over $3 million from the BlackBerry co-founders recently. So in a terms of cash on the balance sheet, company is fine. This is not, if it ever was a company that was struggling, if it ever was, they're doing quite well on their cash position right now. Maybe I can, I do have the CSE open up down here. Let me just check real quick. Financial statements. Because there's a lot of things I try and memorize. I forgot what their balance sheet looked like. My apologies. It's only so many tickers and so many revenue and debt and yada 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 that can stay at the top of the stack. And if you're a chip programmer, you know what I'm talking about. Or debugger. Balance sheet. Assets in March, they had 4.3 million cash. So add some on to that from this latest round of warrants. They got a lot of goodwill because of the AIP. I'm not worried about that. I'm just worried about cash assets versus cash burn. They have almost no liabilities. 280,000. 4.7 million in cash as of the end of March. Now we got even more, 280,000 in liabilities. The company's balance sheet is fine. They're very good at managing expenses on the expense side, and net income. They had 2.2 million used in the year last year in operating activities, but 1.3 million of that was gain on the fair value of warrants. So only about $1 million net cash used in operating activities. I think this is what I would call a healthy company just waiting on revenue, in my opinion. If you think different, let me know. People always bomb me on Twitter saying, oh, this company sucks. They're never going anywhere. Look, I understand how you could think it sucks if you're listening to someone else on YouTube every day telling you it's going to be $55 by May 5th. That's what people were being told for the last year. I guarantee $55 by May 5th. Now that didn't happen, now that we're trading at 25 cents. Well, I didn't really mean it. What I was trying to do was come up with something that, it was like a mnemonic device, 55, May 5th. Really? But $240 by May 2026. I mean, they just doubled down on the stupid. It is so fucking funny. I'm not even making this stuff up. Anya says, do we know what the leadership team has invested in the company? I could find that information, Anya. I don't recall off the top of my head. I know that I think what we should look is, can we see what amount of options or shares that they might own? That's a good task for me to look up later tonight or tomorrow. I don't recall, but good question. And that is important. Like but I do know, Anya, they don't pay themselves very much. What is their salaries here? They list their salaries. It's something ridiculously cheap, like $100,000. this filing that I have open doesn't list their individual salaries. I think maybe the annual filing does, but it does say that where'd that go? Leases, share-based payments, income taxes, convertibles, AIP. Share capital. Stock options. They do have stock options. Warrants. Come on, man, I just had it. And I scrolled past it to keep looking. It was something like $225,000 total for all the executives. But over what period? Did you guys realize over at GNS that Roger Hamilton is paying his wife like $3 million for her salary? These guys at Railtown are paying themselves a couple $100,000. Paying his wife $3 million. As the company's bleeding out for the last 3 years. Crazy. It's a good gig if you can get it, Ms. Hamilton, whatever her last name is, different last name, to keep it more confusing. Operations, compliance. Oh, I'm going to have to look it up on you. I can't find it again now. Anywho, yes, we can see the options and the salaries, and I don't see anything grotesque here, or I would say it. You guys know if I see something that is a yellow flag, I'm going to say it. I think that this company is actually doing a pretty reasonable job of managing shareholders' money. Here we go. During the 6 months ending March 31st, the company paid or accrued salaries of $255,000 to the directors and officers of the company, and bonuses of $225,000 paid or accrued to directors and officers. So $500,000 across how many of them? 8, 9? It's really not that much. Probably the bulk of it goes to the executives with a little stipend to the board members. Seems pretty reasonable to me. Maybe they own a ton of shares. I mean, yeah, Anya, the executives here at Railtown, several of them have created companies and then had exits on those companies where they sold them to a bigger company like Microsoft. And I'm sure that's what they want to do here. And so you would imagine, and we can go verify this, that they likely have a healthy amount of shares. And once they can get this company executing, bring some revenue in, this will be another feather in their cap of a company where they have a successful exit at a higher price than the current price. I'd like to, I don't care what they sell it at. Sell it at $1, $5, $10. If I'm in at 30 cents, do I care? Get what you can, whatever it's worth. And, you know, they're going to be incentivized to get the most they can. And whatever that is, when we get to that point, that will be what they were able to sell it for. There should be no complaining. AI Extreme says they're smart guys seeing the future coming to make the real money. Yeah, they've been working on this project for a while. I get it. If you've been listening to the hype elsewhere and you bought in at 50, 60, 70 cents, it's frustrating, and you start questioning yourself and you question the management. Why are they being so quiet? I do believe that they do have things going on in the background. There are deals being worked on. We're on the cusp of hearing about them. When this year, I don't know. Hopefully it's sooner rather than later. But I'm not worried about it because I have a good entry. Same thing I've been saying for the past year. Like, if you can, I didn't say, people, I love how people twist my words. I didn't say wait 2 years to buy the stock. That's the dumbest lie out there. But I hear this lie every day on other YouTube channels. Tony wants you to wait 2 years to buy the stock. You guys can't even move your lips without lying, can you? What I said was, I want you to be in the mindset, if you own the stock, that it might take 2 years for them to report revenue that you're happy with. If you're in the mindset of, okay, I got this stock for 30 cents. I'm willing to wait around 2 years because I don't know when Corey's going to report revenue. I'm going to size my position to whatever I can wait 2 years without crying about. If you can be in the mindset of 2 years, maybe it only takes 6 months. Maybe it takes a year. Maybe it does take 2 years. I don't know. But if you can be in the mindset of 2 years, you can be in a very zen state. All these people crying, complaining, bitching, calling it a sham company, they got sold on the hype, and they got sold a bill of goods on fake dates and fake price targets by other YouTubers. I'm the opposite of that. I want you patient. I want you zen. I want you to be in the right mindset. Cheap entry, and just sit back and relax. You either believe in the story and the management team or you don't. I'm not here to sell you on that. You get to make up your own mind. I don't care if you buy the stock or not. I do own it. And I do think that good things will come. What that does to the stock price is really just dependent on what news they release. So I can't give you any targets yet. Although we have talked about some in the Discord. I have put pencil to paper. Of course, I have an idea. I'm not going to talk about it on YouTube. I'll let you go to the other channels where they're now promising you $240 by May of 2026, since their $55 promise by May of 2025 did not come true. Anya says, they do seem like the brains of AI in Canada with the connections. They are well connected, Anya. This team at Railtown is well connected in technology, private equity, AI, government. They're well connected. This is a solid management team, solid developer team. The only thing that we're waiting on is execution, and that's where it's a binary investment. They're either going to execute and we're going to do okay, or they're not going to execute, and this will be one of our oopsies. It's a binary investment. That is not for everybody. You know, I literally see some people putting $100,000 on this. Look, I'm not willing to put $100,000 on black or red. It's fun if it hits, but if it loses, I would be pissed. So I manage the size of my trade, and I maintain a diverse portfolio. Anya says, the other dumb lie is you want people who own Railtown to sell it and buy AMC. Yeah. Right now it'd be the dumbest time ever to sell Railtown, Anya. As you know, we've been buying a lot of Railtown down here in these cheap prices. I know you've been picking some up too. People have even getting lower entries than me, I see in the Discord on the day-to-day. And good on you for doing that. Good on you for doing that. If you guys are beating me, I consider myself a master at bottom feeding the price. But if you're getting even lower than me, you are doing it right. Yeah, I don't want you to sell anything and buy AMC. I don't want you to sell anything and buy anything. I don't do that. I'm not trying to move people from one stock to another. Anyone who's watched my channel knows I don't do that. And anyone saying otherwise is just exposing themselves as a pathological liar. I'm not going to move you from one stock into another. That is not my MO. I talk about a bunch of different stocks because I invest or trade in a bunch of different stocks, and that's part of diversification. Each stock has its bucket. I'm not moving stuff around. And I don't want you to move stuff around. I want you to have diversity in your portfolio. Manage your risk, have some good profitable companies that you're invested in, have some fun trades like this where maybe we get multi-baggers. But man, some of y'all, I've watched you lose everything 4 times in a row on 4 or 5 different tickers. Time to wake up. The Spiz says, grab some at 23, wanted to get more but didn't have much available cash. Yeah, man, 2 days ago, not today, yesterday, I had an order in at 22.05, and that's when the run started. So my cheapest entry was 22.95. I almost that was right here at the bottom of on the 25th. That was right here on this red candle. I did not get 22.02. Some people in my Discord did. And I was trying to get it yesterday. 22.05. Didn't happen. It ran away, which is good. I mean, let it run. Let her rip. I think I earlier when we were talking about the chart, I was talking about the weekly, showing you guys where I had been buying in, and you couldn't see it because I had it down on the lower screen. 90% of my buys have been since December of 2025. I did buy a tiny amount back in July, but most of my buys have been ding, 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 ding. Keeping that cost average low. Anya says, I got the 22.02 and 22.04. Anya, you beat me again, Anya. Good job. And may we all have good fortune here in this trade. It's fun to have a few that are just flying by the seat of your pants. And people will either say we were a genius for finding this a year in advance, or they're going to laugh at us for the company never doing anything. But I don't think they're never going to do anything, because the BlackBerry folks invested $3 million. All right, it is what time is it? 9:10. We've been going about an hour. I'm going to play as we exit here tonight, I'm going to play the Railtown slide deck on full screen for you guys one more time. It's about 7 minutes long, maybe 8. It's been playing up there in the upper right-hand corner. I did put this together today on my own time. Nobody pays me to talk about Railtown. I do own some shares. I'd like to see the stock go up, but I do believe in the management team and what they're trying to do, and now we're just waiting on execution. So here are a couple of my thoughts. Maybe if you're already invested in the trade, learn something new, see a picture of somebody where you've heard the name and you're like, oh, that's what that guy looks like. Maybe if you're not in the trade, I see why Tony wants me to do my own DD and dig into this a little more. Guys, I'm not going to ever block you if you have a different opinion than me. I'm not going to block you or call you a short if you have a question. You know how the other channels do? How dare you have a question? You're working for the shorts, aren't you? No, Tony, I own 100,000 shares. I don't believe you. You work for the shorts because you asked a question I don't like. I'm not going to do that to you guys. Ask whatever questions you want about the stock, about the company, about my analysis. Just be able to speak like an adult. Your questions provide me the ability to double check my own DD. So I appreciate them. You don't have to agree with me. And let's see what happens.